welcome, and this is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green. Hi, good afternoon. Ekabo and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the traditional Herbal Health Show. And to start the show, I'm going to open out by making reciting an oriki that is related to an ancestral plea. All right, I'd be reading it, of course, in English. I know how to cast. I know how to appease. My father, Omila, sprinkles Ujeri. Divine Oronmila. Oronmila is to marry a friend's wife. Oronmila is to marry the wife of someone he has made a covenant with. He is to marry that of his peers in spirituality. People say Oronmila will suffer repercussion if he does that. People ask him why he feels that he would not suffer from repercussion. Oronmila says, because palm oil never suffers from the use of its calabash container. Repercussion. Ila Baba, do not let me suffer from repercussion. Ori never suffer from the use of its calabash container. Repercussion. Ila, do not let me suffer from repercussion. Saliva never suffers from being in mouth. Repercussion. Ila, do not let me suffer repercussion. Urine never suffers in the urethra. Repercussion. Ila, do not let me suffer from repercussion. Tortoise never suffers from its shell. Repercussion. Ila, do not let me suffer from repercussion. Snail never suffers from its shell. Repercussion. Ila, do not let me suffer from repercussion. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So at this point, I would like to introduce the host of today's show, Coach Iyauntie. Welcome, Iya.
Hello, how have you been, Baba?
I have been well by Oludumare and Ifa.
I say, I hope all our viewers feel the same and that the week has been productive in whichever part of the Caribbean or the world you may be located. I know that we have one global complaint nowadays is the inflation, not just for food, but also for gas. So we tend to joke around about it, but indeed, it is causing a lot of mental stress and additional economic strain on families globally, but especially, in the smaller countries and the smaller communities. So I did read in the news that a couple committed suicide over the past few days.
Wow.
And, they recorded it. It was done in the presence of the child. And technically they explain, all what they had done to try to make ends meet, and that it had become, really overbearing and overwhelming for them. However, we are here this afternoon to try to, lighten up the overall stress that everybody is feeling, because, we are the one talking, but the world is still moving around us. So we will face our individual challenges as well. So this afternoon, we are going to speak about spring and the effect spring in particular may have on our health. Like for me, we have been working with different networking companies over the past years. Usually at springtime, there would be like this rush about encouraging people to get into weight loss challenges or detox challenges. And you will find that it's not just a matter of network marketing companies, even holistic health practitioners, clinics, retreat centers. Everybody is on the rush to get you to detox or to start a weight loss journey or whatever health problem you may have. Everybody is on the rush to get you to start around that time. So we want to discuss about it. Many will be skeptical because they will feel like, well, it's a rush, it's advertising, it's about buying products, so it's not good and I don't want to do it. But the fact that you would find holistic health practitioners also encouraging you to step into that trend, including myself, without selling you any product, encouraging you to go in your backyard, pick up what you need, dig into your kitchen, pick up what you have in your kitchen, or best you go to the market or you go to the supermarket. So we are here to also encourage you to consider this season of the year to take a fresh start. So putting all religious considerations set aside, because for some it is also the new year. The new year, you would find that in different religion, they celebrate the new year around this time as well. Okay, so at spring, usually in countries where there is like a rough winter, animals usually would go into hibernation. I don't know if you guys say hibernation. I say hibernation.
Yeah,
By
hibernation.
but they that's the time when they go into hiding and they sleep for the entire winter. Okay, so some may go out to eat scarcely and some don't go out to eat at all, so they have eaten enough to store up enough weight, fat, nutrition to keep them the entire winter. But around that particular time, everybody awakes, and not just the animals. You will notice also that if you plant seeds during the winter or just at the end of the winter, um, you might realize that okay, nothing happened during the winter because the ground is too cold. There's no warmth hitting the ground and giving it that life force that is needed. However, once the temperature starts to warm up again, then you realize that things start to come forth. So those seeds start to come forth around this time of the year. You will find that I'm going to use like an example that's probably unusual. For those people who plant marijuanas, they will tell you that the best time to collect it is around that time of the year. Like later down when the summer sun is scorching, it's actually like burning everything, and you don't get the same quality. So it is adequate time, we would say, for not just farming, but for birthing, to get things from the ground, and to start new cycles. For our forefathers who didn't have calendars on their phone, or, cardboard calendars as we used to have. Nowadays, everybody go on the phone or the tablet. Do you still keep those, those almanac the way we used to get them at the end of the year? Do you still collect those?
Yeah, most people do. I guess it's sort of like a traditional thing.
I
Most
I don't
countries.
keep those that much. I'm like, I always accept them very happy. I'm very happy to get them at the end of the year because it is a tradition. But by March, I can't find those anymore. Everything is electronic. Everything is electronic nowadays. But yeah, so we get back to the fact that it's a birthing season. So for the elders who didn't have those calendar or those devices to rely on and know that hey, we are in March the 21st or the 20th, so it is the beginning of spring. What they used to align the lifestyle with was the different cycle of nature, including the change of season. So they would realize a change of season by observing the cycle of the moon, but also how nature moves around. So how the flowers come forward, how more leaves come into the trees, okay, but also into the animals, because that's the time when you realize that all the animals who are hibernating are slimming down. Well, of course, when you strip off most of your fat over how many months, it is only normal when you step out in March or in April that you would be slimmer. So the wisdom of our ancestors was that what's happening in the rest of the cosmos, so in Mother Nature and around, is also happening to us because we are part of we are part of this, let me try to find the right word, this microsystem. So therefore, if their body naturally is shedding ponds, it's purifying itself around that time, it is also the time to give ourselves, these plants. So in the Caribbean, we have, this washout. It's time to take a washout. It's time to clean your blood. It's time to, there's always something that we want to clean. And the way we speak about it is so that you take a bucket of water and a mop and then you just get going. But it is not, the right way. This is a time when I like to start with my little disclaimers that any information that is shared into this discussion is really not to replace your medical advice. Anybody would like to be inspired from the recommendation that we share in this show, you really do it at your own discretion. If you know that you are suffering from any particular chronic illnesses, we encourage you to always discuss with your healthcare provider. Even if it is a holistic care provider, always speak to your provider to make sure that whatever decision you take is in your best interest. So I'll give an example. There is this Moringa fever. It used to be worse back in the days. Nowadays, you still find people, they're always after the moringa. There is this lady who actually come close to my yard and she break the whole branch. And I just stand up and watch her all the time. So you don't take some, you just go with the entire branch. Fine. And
well, yeah, I would think if she taking the entire branches to plant it, so you shouldn't see her after the first time.
but if I get like, if again, she will probably have the common sense that when you go to the branch, take some of the seeds and plant it. If she had started to plant, by now she wouldn't need to come and take down the whole branch from my yard all the time.
Well, I'm thinking the same thing myself.
It is what it is. Sometimes we don't necessarily take the time to think and analyze the things that we do. But moringa is recommended to have so many vitamins and fibers, etc. And it's great. However, it is also very acidic. So therefore, not everybody should be using moringa, and especially overuse moringa. And I could tell you stories about overusing moringa, but I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'll just keep those who are close to me. They just laugh till the belly bursts when I tell them about, my experiences of overusing moringa. So it's something that is good for your health, can easily become a poison to your body, can make matters turn worse when you are not advised on the quantities you should use, and also whether that particular plant is good for your health, for your personal situation. So don't never listen to any other videos online, whether ours or whatever you may hear somewhere else, and just decide to do for yourself without applying wisdom, and that is reach out to a health practitioner, someone who know how to use those plants and will give you the best recommendation for your health, because we are all different. Okay, so let's start with, I'm gonna take my notes a little closer to me. All right, so we said that spring is invigorating because it starts a new cycle in Mother Nature. So therefore, we also can take from that particular change in the atmosphere to also invigorate the body. Not sure how to say it, but we keep going. So by this, we are going to try to focus on cleaning the major organs. So according to traditional Chinese medicine, but also in Ayurveda, there are some specific organs that that work the most around that particular time of the year. So I'm going to speak a lot about the liver, because the liver is very important in the body because it helps to filter the blood, to store some nutrition. It helps us also to get rid of some excess fat. This is the sponge and the regulator of the body. So once now and then, we should take the time to really rinse it out, clean it out. It would be so great if you could just take it out and, literally rinse it and place it back. It would be optimal. But just like the sponge that we use to clean the counter, if you never rinse out the sponge, or if you never use any detergent, you don't really get, you just move bacteria all over the place, but you don't really get a clean counter. And even if you may look clean to the naked eye, if you were to take a magnifier or any other type of device, you would realize that the counter is still very filthy with toxins. So here goes the same with the liver. So when the temperatures are colder, we are not going to talk about winter because we don't really have a winter in the Caribbean, but we have a rainy season where the temperatures are a little milder, and then we have the warmer temperatures of the summertime, if we can call it, summertime. For us, is dry season. So during the wet season or the cold season, we tend to not have the same energetic output, meaning that because the temperature is colder outside, we spend less time outside. So for us in the Caribbean, sometimes we don't feel it as directly as other countries because, I mean, we can still walk about without, without all those winter clothes and scarf, etc. But for example, if we rain more, so we will tend to spend less time outdoor exercising, for example, and the daytime also is a whole lot shorter. So some activities probably that we were accustomed of doing from 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and it would still be in the daytime around 7, and we can't do them anymore because 5:30 it can be already dark in some places. 6 o'clock it can be dark, especially around December. So what happened is that the body regulates itself a lot with the daytime, with the daytime. So technically, once the sun sets and it starts to be dark around, then for your body, the metabolism is not the same anymore. So what we eat, we tend to store a whole lot more during the colder season. And so many of us do gain weight around that time of the year. And of course, it is magnified by those special festival of the end of year, Christmas, the New Year's, a beautiful table. We have the Fête des Rois for the French, which is a night cake. So we eat and overeat cake throughout the whole of January. And also Thanksgiving for those who celebrate, in North America. And so we tend to store a lot more toxins in the body towards that time of the year. And it would stay with us, except if we are people who actually practice the sports. And if we are able to exercise, it tends to remain in the body and be stored until it naturally starts to melt off. So how will it naturally start to melt off? When the body is exposed to a warmer temperature. Just like if you have a piece of lard and you just put it in the frying pan without putting any oil, it will start to melt because it is exposed to heat. So it is also the same with our toxins. So around that time of the year, we do encourage everyone to follow the natural cycle of elimination, of purification. And what your body will do naturally, the best is to just give it this simple boost and help the body to go a little further. So if you have weight problem, that might be the best time of the year, to start tackling your health problem, not when your body is naturally storing toxin and storing fat. Okay. Okay, how do you cleanse your body? So usually you would get rid of excess waste by eating less processed food, drink more natural juices, eat fruits, drink more water, stay away from chemical or carbonated drink. And all of those steps are going to help ease your liver. So from a natural viewpoint, when your liver is overloaded, it is less able to detoxify the blood, and so the poison remains, and it potentially leads to an acute health situation a little later wherever your organs are weak. So we are going to share some tips, that you can implement in your home without having to go to a particular spa or a retreat center, to help you to have a better renewal around spring. Okay, so the first thing we would remember, we say, see with your health practitioner that you are okay for having a little detox. And then we would, of course, encourage you to avoid eating heavy food or processed food because those will aggravate your allergies because of the change of season. It will also promote water retention and sluggishness. And this is really the time of the year when, since the body is excreting naturally, we help it. Would like also to remind that sweating is very important because sweating helps to eliminate toxins. So it is a time to get up and start moving the body. You may not be able to exercise, you may not be able to run, but maybe if you just go sit by the sea or river, start moving your legs, it's good enough. You just activate your circulation, get some massage therapy, go to a sauna, or dance at home. Nobody has to see you. Just make yourself sweat and keep moving. Avoid dairy product and what is wheat, yeasty bread, meat, refined processed food. Avoid leftovers. So this might sound strange for me. We're speaking about economic hardship, and I'm saying to avoid eating leftovers. Point is that once the food stay over a few hours, even if you place it in the fridge, it's losing a lot in its life strength, in life force, and also in its nutrition. So technically, even when you warm it, even if you freeze it, by the time you eat it again and you warm it, so the energy of the heat is going to kill more nutrition from the food. By the time you eat it, you just like having the taste and empty calories, but you're not really getting nutrition from the leftover meat. It is better to cook less, and to eat more fresh food than to eat too, like to cook a lot. Like at the beginning of the week, you cook for the entire week and you put it in the fridge. It is convenient in terms of time management, but it's definitely like this is a waste of nutrition. And that is something that sometimes we also have to take into consideration. Okay. For some people, especially for those who are very heavy, you're gonna hear that it's better to eat natural food, I mean uncooked. But if you have a problem with your metabolism, it's not really recommended for you to eat raw food. Why? Is because having a problem with your metabolism means that your body is not able to bring up the temperature within to be able to break down the food to food assimilation. So what happened is that whenever you suffer with a lot of weight, you actually do better drinking like soup, a light broth, vegetables. You put a lot of vegetable in it, but because it is at least slightly cooked, it means that it is easier to digest to your system. And that applies also to people who suffer from different illnesses. You try to help the body. Now, as your body gets better, you'll be able to integrate more and more raw food and to be able to digest them, in the best appropriate. So try to have like light and simple food. Sometimes when I listen to people who are vegetarian tell me what they have eaten and they don't understand why their blood pressure is elevated, I'm like, but the meal is too rich. It's just too rich, you know. Try to keep it very simple and just lightly cook. We recommend to the use of olive oil or coconut oil. Remember that oil you need to really like just a little bit. It's not too much, and that's to help for the lubrication and better assimilation. In the Caribbean, we like bitters, so we know that we have to eat our bitter greens. Some say not to eat kale, but kale is bitter. You could have like rocket, spinach, mustard green. Then the lion, I also like to recommend daikon radish. Some can have it raw, or you can also lightly steam it. And the daikon radish is excellent, really, to detox your body. Now, the daikon radish usually is very cheap in the Chinese supermarket. So I don't know how you guys call that in Trinidad. Might be the
Uh,
same, but I'm not sure.
well, we have it in some stores, but it's not a very common thing. But this the vegetable that has the same sort of shape like a beet, but it's white.
Yes. And it has a very pungent, a very strong scent.
Okay.
Usually after you eat that, the amount of sulfur is really like taking a toll on cleansing your body. And yeah, it affects the breath. But this is very good to detox the body. And prior to maybe like ordering a detox for $100 from the US, I don't have anything against the US. Pay the duties coming down to the Caribbean. You may probably just want to start eating that 2 or 3 times per day for a couple of days, and you realize that your body is gonna be thanking you for it, and your purse as well. Um, Also, we want to encourage you to include warming and drying spice. So this is usually very simple to add to our meals, like increase your intake of ginger. So drink ginger tea, garlic, mustard, cinnamon, black pepper, also capsicum, so the cayenne pepper, cumin and fennel. So cumin and fennel are used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine in the form of tea to help to regulate the doshas, but also to cleanse the digestive system. So that's very affordable. And the pungent qualities of these spices actually break up the toxins, make them loose, and it also helps to combat mucus. And this is what we want because usually inactivity helps us like to a sedentary lifestyle is going to cause us to develop more mucus. So by drinking this, or just keep on drinking your tea, but add this spice into your tea, you will realize that it's helping your body to have a much better metabolism. You have to avoid eating ice cold food and drinks. So here I'd like to call out the ladies who like green smoothies. Avoid, loading your smoothies with ice because by the time your food reach in your stomach, it's supposed to already be warm. By your system is supposed to be able to have it to warm it down to the digestive tract. But whenever you consume something that is too cold, it's arriving in your stomach cold. And by that time, it means that it's not going to be really assimilated. So it doesn't matter, all what you put in the smoothie, it's not assimilated because it has arrived too cold into the stomach. So avoid having those cold drinks. It's the time of the year where you want to drink a lot, but you drink a lot of room temperature and warm beverages. You sip on herbal tea and throughout the day. So many times throughout the day you have something warm or room temperature. Okay, I was smiling in advance because I make a little list of the recommendation. And in the recommendation, we recommend that you avoid alcohol and coffee. Now, you know that why I was smiling. For me and my coffee story, I don't think that there is one episode we don't mention my coffee addiction. But around that time of the year, you drink less alcohol, smoke less. Hear me well, smoke less. It doesn't matter what you smoke, just smoke less because your lung also need, that time to regenerate and to be cleansed. If you can afford not to smoke for a certain amount of days, or it is better. Okay, it will help to kickstart the metabolism and also to burn fat and start the cleansing process. If you cannot do without the coffee, I know I'm not the only one. I know in my family almost everybody is addicted to coffee. I thought I was spared until 2019, but I'm dealing with it. For example, somebody like me who drinks coffee, instead of drinking it 7 days a week, I will choose which day of the week I'm drinking. So I will alternate the days. That's one. But I would also like add some of those warming spices that I spoke about earlier. I would add them into my coffee. So I would have fennel with my coffee, or cumin, or better yet, instead of having like the cup of coffee, I drink, for example, a coffee smoothie. So I have it blend with CMOS. All this to reduce the intake of the acidity that I am putting in the body, to allow the body to remain in this cleansing cycle and not to interrupt it every time by putting something acidic in the body. So it's all a matter of adjusting. And whenever you open your mouth, ask yourself, what is it doing to your body? Okay. And then we have some traditions. So in our traditions, we feel like once we go to the toilet and we make a lot of noise in the toilet, We release a lot. We feel like, okay, I have cleansed myself. No, you have not. You have just emptied your bowels. And emptying your bowels actually makes space to get rid of any other toxins stored up in the bowels, but uh, you have not cleansed your body yet. So there are some who are adept of the master cleanse when people use maple syrup, capsicum, and a lot of lime juice. So this has brought a lot of result to many people. I'm not going into details because it's not something that I'm not recommending those as what you must do at home. We are just talking about what people do in the Caribbean to get themselves into this, cleansing cycle. Many people nowadays, like I would say, like our generation, they would look a lot into Dr. Sebi, and so they would back into those alkalizing diet, alkalizing detox. So you would look into the list of Dr. Sebi's food, and you are going to get rid of some. Turmeric is the one everybody always wants to shoot. Get rid of the turmeric. Get rid of the turmeric. So try to eat as many alkalizing food and herbs as possible. There's also intermittent fasting that has become star diet over the past years. And we spoke about it in previous shows when we were recommending that um, I'm trying not to lose my we were recommending that people do eat less so that they would have like a better discussion. So therefore, intermittent fasting is also something you may want to consider at that time of the year. But so being, we don't recommend that you abstain completely from food. So you may want probably to decide that you're going to eat 2 meals and drink soup, or maybe you're going to have 2 bowls of soup and have like a raw vegetable meal. Eat whatever is convenient to you, and remember that you you discuss with your provider to make sure that it is in alignment with your own health plan. In the intermittent fasting, there is the OMAD. That's also like a star nowadays, where you eat 1 meal for the day. So many people love OMAD. And OMAD technically, well, people of the Muslim faith who go through this fast at what time of the year again? I think it's from May to June when the Muslim go through Ramadan.
Ramadan, the fasting.
Exactly, and you eat 1 meal per day. 1 meal per day is very detoxifying. It helps you, like, once your body is not busy carrying a lot of toxins, not busy digesting a lot of food, etc., your brain is functioning a whole lot better because there is more energy circulating through your body. So 1 meal a day is also something that's very trendy in the Caribbean. And then there is a saltwater flush. Baba, what do you know about the saltwater flush?
Well, yeah, I don't particularly know too much, but I mean, I know that that salt itself
Mhm.
is an acid. So I know that it might be able to do some scoring in the system, maybe in combination with some other things. But the salts you speak of, is it the one that is the laxative that cleanses the system, or you speaking about the regular domestic salt?
You're gonna find that some people use a regular salt, but the laxative salt is a whole lot better because it is not as squashing to the body. Point of it is that you drink a saline solution as in lieu of a laxative. Usually you take that at night. Hear me well, at night, not in the morning. Because when you take it at night, let's say 8 p.m., some people go at 10 p.m., but if you have to come out of your house very early in the morning, 10 p.m. is too late. Okay. Usually, when you take that, I recommend that you start your morning with drinking warm water or to drink apple cider vinegar because you need something to ignite your body to give your bowel the signal that you're ready to go to the bathroom. You are up. But the minute you have those, you start releasing. So the saltwater flush help you to, get rid of a lot of, harder. A lot of stock up mucus in the body. It breaks down a lot from your colon, and it is impossible to have a saltwater flush and go to work like nothing happened. You will be disturbed. If you have to drive, you'll be embarrassed.
All
So
right. Yeah, I think what you are talking about, we do use it in Trinidad also, but we generally don't call it salts. Salt. We say
okay,
salts,
sauce, okay.
right? But this is a common ingredient
Mm-hmm.
whenever we use pods. Sometimes we add salts
In it.
to the pod as a
Okay.
combination, which is a kind of little combination, you know. But
Mhm.
normally, before we go back out to school every year as children,
Mhm.
our parents will ensure that we have that after the Christmas holiday and all of that before we go back out to school. Um, of recent, for persons who has stones in both the gallbladder and in the kidney, there is a therapy that includes the use of the same salts for the removal of stones.
On stones.
Mhm.
No, but this is powerful. Honestly, like it's impossible to keep a high belly when you drink that. But also, this is not something you should be drinking every day. So, if you decide to go 3 days to really like break down as much as possible, then you should stop for a couple of days and probably like, do that once a month, once a week. It depends if your particular situation. I know that when my first daughter was growing up, and we used to have those huge lunch, uh, potluck lunch on Saturdays. Every Saturday night, I would give her a big cup of orange juice. But the base of the orange juice used to be 1080 macerating from Saturday morning to make sure
Yeah.
it's really strong. Then I would give it some orange, press some oranges in it and give it some of the salt. So I knew that Sunday morning she would be busy, but for me, it's like I really didn't want any of what was eaten from Saturday to remain in the stomach throughout the week. So that was the
Okay.
way to make sure that she would start the school week with all the energy and all the vitality and not, feeling lazy with a lethargy stomach from all what had been eaten over the weekend. So you will realize what is best for you, what works for you. But again, remember that it's not healthy to be stimulating your colon like that every day. Okay, so you will find a pace. And then another great part of our tradition is the herbs. So yes, our bitter herbs. So Senapod, like you mentioned, is something that we just drink a lot around that time of the year because it's in the body. It's actually the better time of the year to take it because since the body is being warm naturally, it means that you're going to have a much better circulation within. So it is one of the best time to take it, drink aloe vera, not the one in the bottle in the supermarket, from the leaf, unsweetened. And prune juice. And of course, we can speak about, pineapple, kiwi, pears. According to your body system, then some of those fruits might be aggravating. So it really depends on your body system. The citrus and guinea was included in the list. Okay, because it's not too sweet. So this is also like a nice one to have to help the flushing. And in terms of tea, bitter orange leaf also is great, but not just the leaf because we also take the skin, dry it, and use it to make. So I'd like to insist on a bitter orange, like our natural oranges from the Caribbean. Usually those that have not been sprayed by any chemical, because if you take like, those that come from Florida or Spain, let me just try other countries because I don't want people to think I'm targeting specific countries. But if your oranges come from a country where a lot of pesticide is sprayed into the fruit, then it's not recommended that you use the orange.
Grind. Yeah, the
Yes,
skin.
to make tea because then you are making tea with the grind and the pesticide, and that's really a poison to your body. So we try to stick at what's produced naturally or organic. Increase your consumption of garlic. The dandelion, they start to come out. So that's a beautiful time to get it. And Cerasee. Cerasee, I think you guys use Coralie, right?
Yeah, correctly.
Yes, so this is also a great seed to have to clean the body, not to forget the neem bush, and so many others. You just make sure that you include a lot of bitter herbs into your food. Having parsley as well is good. And let's use callaloo because all of those are full of green nutrients. So it really helps to flood the body with all the vitamins and minerals that are needed. So you don't just flush, you got to put back the nutrient as well. Okay. I think I have touched most of those stuff I wanted to speak about. I do not remember whether I encourage people to exercise. It's the time definitely where your body is starting to shed fat on its own. So it's one of the great time, especially if you whether you want to bulk muscles or not, but to get your muscles moving is the best time. And for people who suffer from different joint pain or arthritis, whatsoever it might be, it's also a great time to increase your consumption of sea moss, and to all this to help the body to get rid of as much mucus as possible, while you are going into your personal home cleanse. So the focus should be to keep your intestine clean and to show some care to your liver.
Okay.
Yes. So shall we have any question from the audience?
Okay. Well, anyone have any question, please feel free at this point to just send it to the comment section, and we would try to address it as quickly as we can. Right. Here is I use raw aloe vera from South Africa, some turmeric, bitter Karali to cleanse, sometimes dandelion. What do you think of that combination here?
That's a good combination. Of course, those who are very Dr. Sebi are going to want to shoot the turmeric, but turmeric is also used very often with neem to cleanse the body in terms of Indian medicine. So that's a very good blend, definitely.
Yeah, well, I tend to turmeric is something that I would recommend. I don't definitely don't recommend moringa at all. The thing is with the turmeric is that you cannot use it continuously because it tend to thin the blood.
I do not use turmeric on its own. Usually, I always balance turmeric with black pepper. And for example, if you were to drink black pepper tea, you would realize that it can be too strong because it's going to be very difficult, to enjoy. So I will put 1 part black pepper to 1 part turmeric. The black pepper help to absorb the nutriment from the turmeric a whole lot better than if you use turmeric on its own.
Okay. All right. Just to move away for a little second, I want to sort of contextualize the whole issue of spring cleaning, which you did in the beginning, but I'm just going to try to put it into a traditional framework with Ifa, right?
Okay.
Normally,
Mhm.
for Ifa devotees, we sort of use the number 4 as it is sort of a fixed number that is inculcated with the concept of Ifa. Because basically, what we have is what is called a 4-day cycle. Right? This is the primordial seed that defines the Yoruba structure. It marks the value of 4 as most important, and we have the 4 basic most important divinities that are recognized on a 4-day week. The first day is normally for Ogun, right? Or the day of Ogun, which is Oshe Ogun. The second day is Oshe Shango. The third day is Oshe Obatala. and the fourth day is Oshe Ifa or Oronmila. Now, this cycle is the 4-day cycle. We also have a 16-day cycle. We also have a 91-day cycle, which is normally a community type activity, right? That 91-day cycle would generally run us into the four major seasons for the course of the year. So, like on the 21st, which is this coming week, would run us into that period of that 92 days for the
Okay.
first quarter. All
Okay.
right, so that sort of brings us into the same concept of what is called spring.
Yes.
All right, so I just wanted to add that to the discussion. All right,
Good with black pepper for inflammation. Definitely.
yeah, that's what one of the viewers added.
Mhm.
So basically, yeah, I think that's the show for today.
Yes, it is
Yeah,
today. When
we
I
would
made my
like,
planning,
yeah,
I
we would
I go
go ahead,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, when I made the planning for the show, I made based on my vision without paying attention to what's going on in the rest of the world. So today is a special day here on the island. So it requires my attention in other places earlier today than usual.
All right. So again, thank all the viewers for joining us, and we would see you next week. So we would now say Odabo
Double.
and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening.